Motivation is something you and I both want more of. It is the fuel behind some of the best things in life, and it is what drives us to achieve our goals. But Joel, motivation doesn't exist. It's a myth. I've seen that online. Don't be like this guy. He's a Because imagine how sick life would be if you had unlimited motivation. You would be unstoppable. So for the next 7 days, I'm putting my body and mind on the line through various fitness challenges to see if I can muster up the motivation to not quit when things get difficult, using what I've learned over the last 2 years and actually some science, or as Boris would call it,
better science.
Better science. This guy's a muppet.
Come to speak to Joel Clifton, who's doing an extraordinary charity challenge. Tell us all about it, Joel.
I'm calling my challenge 100k in 7 days. Firstly, I'm going for 10,000 points scored on a basketball court, 20,000 metres on a rowing machine, 30,000 metres pushed in a wheelchair, and 40,000 kilograms lifted in the gym, and I have to do it in that 7-day period.
Get out of your head and stay hard.
Hold on, stop the music. I've literally just realised that this time lapse is from the point of view of my penis. But ignoring that fact, I literally did do a 10-mile push, that's 16 kilometres, with no training on Monday morning. It wasn't ideal, probably not a smart move. And then in the evening, I went and put some good shots up.
Focus.
I've woken up on day 2 feeling like a hot pile of ass. My shoulder is screaming, my lower back is twinging, my upper traps feel like they're gonna fall off. But this is a pivotal moment because it's getting through this point when like my whole body is telling me to stop, where my mind and my motivation and my determination and my discipline really comes in. Right, I've had a shit, a shower, a stretch, and some food in my system. I'm feeling functional, I'm feeling ready for the next stage of my mission this week. At the gymnasium. Mate, I literally look like I've just had a near-death experience. Anyway, let's get into the science I used to increase my motivation this week. I focused my methods of maintaining and increasing motivation on what is called the psychobiological model of fatigue. Yes, that sounds scary, but really, it's a simple concept, especially when it's explained by one of my science friends. In simple terms, the psychobiological model of fatigue suggests 2 principles that incorporate the mind and the body. The first is that one's motivation for a task has to be greater than the perceived effort that is required. And secondly, the individual has to strongly believe that they are capable of completing that task. When these 2 principles are not met, that is when you physically or mentally quit. This means that throughout my challenging week, I maintained a belief that I was physically and mentally capable of completing my challenge, no matter what doubts the voice in my head told me.
Joe, you are shit, mate. Haha.
You can apply this whenever you need motivation.
You me, son?
Yeah.
Mate, I bet that sounds sick on camera.
Right, it's session 3 of the basketball part of my challenge. I'm here for 3 hours. I want to get 3,000 points.
Don't really want to be here, I'll be honest.
But that's the point of this challenge, is doing things when we don't want to do it. I'm just going to put my headphones on, get a podcast on, and throw the ball into a little circle for thousands of shots.
Who's gonna carry the boats and the logs?
Throughout everything I've experienced this week and the whole rest of my life, I've realised some important things about motivation. One is that it can't be relied upon, and it comes in waves. It ebbs and flows throughout life. And the important thing is we have to recognise that we have to do the thing we're supposed to do, and then motivation often is the reward for doing the thing and seeing progress. And that in life, we have to rely on discipline and not motivation. Of course, motivation can be increased through things we do, how we live our life, our mindset, our perspective. But at the end of the day, we have to do the thing and get rewarded with the motivation to continue to do that thing. But also I've realized something very important about motivation itself, and that it's not one singular unit. In fact, there are two distinct types of motivation. If there's one key bit of value I want you, the viewer, to get from this video, it is the understanding of the difference between these two. The first type is individual motivation. It's you focused. The only person involved is yourself. Therefore, it's quite small in magnitude, can be quite temporary, and therefore is unreliable. Individual motivation is what gets you to the fridge when you're feeling hungry, or gets you to some source of entertainment when you're feeling bored. It relies on your own individual priorities and feelings to act. However, there is a second kind of motivation that is more reliable and much greater in magnitude, and I call it higher motivation. This is where you focus your efforts on something higher than you, higher than the individual, which keeps you persisting at a task even when it's difficult. This focus can be your loved ones, nature, the planet, God, the entire human population, whatever, it doesn't matter. The important thing is that you're no longer only acting for your own priorities and your own feeling. Other people are involved to provide that accountability. It's this type of motivation that gets you to do things for other people and your community, and therefore it's much greater in magnitude, can last so much longer, and is therefore much more reliable. You can apply higher motivation to literally anything you do. I use it to study, I use it when I talk to people, make these videos, and I used it for my week of fitness struggle. You see, I didn't do all this exercise malarkey for the shits and gigs. I did it as a fitness fundraiser for my wheelchair basketball club, because this club has given me brilliant opportunities and joy for a multitude of years. What drove me to continue doing something when it was difficult, spend all those hours on the basketball court, all those hours in the gym, was the idea that the money raised from my struggle would help people like me and potential new people to the club have the experiences that I have had. It was the joy of others that drove me to continue when things were difficult. It was that gave me a sustainable, high source of motivation. However, with all that said, I still had one more day left of my challenge. I needed to finish what I'd started.
There's no finish line.
No.
It doesn't exist.
That's the scary thing about life, my friend.
To summarize, if you want more motivation in your life, no matter who you are, where you are, what you're doing, you need three things. You need to believe that you're physically and mentally capable of completing that task. You need a source of higher motivation that is greater than the perceived effort that you think the task will take. And number three, you need a subscription to the Joel Clifton YouTube channel. Shameless plug, I know. But seriously, if you did enjoy this video, you will enjoy the rest of my content, which you can start exploring here. I'll see you over there. But until then, you know what to do. Be an anomaly.